When it first takes off, it's a really strange feeling not to have a driver.
China is changing the way we travel with new transport inventions that feel like they come from the future. Their ultra-fast trains and next-level electric vehicles are making travel faster, cleaner, and more efficient. These breakthroughs are not just about technology, but about creating a better, smarter way to get around. China's focus on green energy and smart designs is setting the stage for how people will move for years to come. What once seemed like science fiction is now becoming real. This wave of innovation is shaping the future of transportation for everyone. Get ready for the virtual exhibit. The Maglev train. If you've ever dreamed of zooming through a city at lightning speed without feeling a single bump, China's Maglev, magnetic levitation, trains are like something straight out of the future. These trains don't use traditional wheels. Instead, they float above the tracks using magnetic forces. Sounds like science fiction, right? But in China, it's a real thing, and it's already happening. One of the most famous maglev lines in the world is in Shanghai. It connects the city to Pudong International Airport, and it can hit speeds up to 430 kilometers per hour. The ride only takes about 7 to 8 minutes, and it's so smooth and quiet that it barely feels like you're moving. For travelers, it's a super fast and convenient way to get to or from the airport, especially in a city as huge and busy as Shanghai. China isn't stopping there, either. The country is investing heavily in high-speed transportation, and maglev trains are a big part of that plan. In fact, engineers in China are developing even faster maglevs that could one day travel at speeds over 600 kilometers per hour. That's faster than most airplanes. These trains could eventually connect cities like Beijing and Shanghai in just a couple of hours, completely changing the way people travel across the country. What's really cool is that maglev technology is not only fast, but also eco-friendly. Since the trains don't actually touch the tracks, there's less friction, which means less energy is needed to keep them going. They're quieter and smoother than traditional trains, and they could help reduce traffic and pollution from airplanes and cars. Whether you're a tech fan, a travel lover, or just someone who hates being stuck in traffic, China's maglev trains are worth paying attention to. They're fast, futuristic, and could totally transform the way we move around in the future. Who knows, maybe one day riding a maglev will feel just as normal as taking the subway. Monorail systems. While not as widespread as subways or high-speed trains, monorail systems have been popping up in several Chinese cities, offering a unique and efficient way to move people around, especially in areas where traditional rail would be tricky to build. Think hilly cities, crowded downtowns, or places with limited space for large rail systems. One of the most famous examples is the Chongqing monorail. This system is a real standout, not just in China, but globally. Chongqing is a super hilly city with a complex landscape, and the monorail fits in perfectly. It even passes through a residential building at one point, which has become a bit of a viral sensation. The city's use of monorail technology has helped reduce traffic and made commuting a lot more convenient for locals. Other cities like Wuhan and Changsha have also started developing monorail lines. These systems aren't just practical, they're also relatively cost-effective and environmentally friendly. Since monorails are elevated, they don't take up as much ground space, which helps preserve existing roads and buildings. Plus, the views from a monorail are usually great, especially when it's winding through scenic parts of a city. Even though monorails aren't as common as subways in China, they're gaining attention for their flexibility and ease of construction. They're a smart choice for second- and third-tier cities looking to expand public transportation without the massive costs or disruptions that come with underground lines. It's also a way for these cities to modernize without following the exact same path as Beijing or Shanghai. Moving on to eco-friendly initiatives and transport systems in China. This one will truly impress you. hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. The country has been making some serious moves when it comes to green energy, and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles are becoming a big part of that push. While electric cars tend to grab most of the spotlight, hydrogen-powered vehicles are starting to catch up, especially for heavy-duty transportation like buses and trucks. The idea behind hydrogen fuel cell vehicles is pretty cool. They generate electricity by combining hydrogen and oxygen, and the only emission that comes out is water. That's a big win in the fight against air pollution, which is something China has been struggling with for years. The Chinese government has been backing hydrogen tech with subsidies and pilot programs, especially in cities like Shanghai, Beijing, and Foshan. They're not just talking about passenger cars either. A lot of focus is on commercial vehicles that do long-haul trips, since fuel cell vehicles can refuel much faster than electric ones and have a longer range. That makes them super practical for logistics and public transportation. China's also investing heavily in hydrogen production and fueling infrastructure, although there's still a long way to go. Right now, hydrogen refueling stations are pretty limited, but more are popping up every year. One of the biggest challenges China faces with hydrogen fuel cells is cost. The vehicles themselves and the infrastructure to support them are expensive. Plus, producing hydrogen in a clean and sustainable way is still a bit tricky. A lot of hydrogen is currently made from fossil fuels, which kind of defeats the purpose. But researchers and companies are working on making green hydrogen from renewable sources like solar and wind power, and if they can scale that up, it could change the game. China seems pretty serious about making hydrogen fuel cell vehicles a real part of the future. With government support, growing tech innovation, and increasing environmental pressure, there's a lot of potential. It's not going to replace electric vehicles overnight, but it might just become the go-to solution for certain types of transportation. So, while it's still early days, hydrogen vehicles in China are definitely worth keeping an eye on. Electric unicycles. Electric unicycles are becoming a pretty common sight in cities across China these days. If you've ever been to places like Beijing or Shanghai, you might have noticed people zipping through traffic on what looks like a futuristic one-wheeled device. At first, it seems like something out of a sci-fi movie, but in China, it's actually a practical and increasingly popular way to get around. Whether it's students heading to class, office workers commuting, or delivery drivers trying to beat the traffic, more and more people are turning to electric unicycles as a fast and fun alternative to traditional transportation. One big reason for their popularity is the traffic situation in many Chinese cities. With millions of people living in dense urban areas, traffic jams are a daily headache. Public transportation is good, but it can get overcrowded, and sometimes it just doesn't get you exactly where you need to go. That's where electric unicycles come in. They're small, portable, and you don't need a parking space. You can just hop on, ride a few blocks, and carry it into your office or class. Plus, many models are pretty affordable compared to electric bikes or scooters. Technology has also played a big role. China's tech industry is booming, and companies here are quick to jump on trends. Some of the best-known electric unicycle brands, like InMotion and Kingsong, are actually Chinese. These companies are constantly improving their designs, making them safer, faster, and easier to learn. There's even a bit of a cool factor involved, with young people showing off tricks or customizing their rides with lights and sounds. It's not just about commuting, it's becoming a lifestyle. Of course, there are still challenges. Safety is a concern, especially in busy areas where cars, bikes, and pedestrians all share the same space. While some cities have started to set rules about where and how electric unicycles can be used, the laws aren't always clear or enforced. Also, not everyone finds them easy to ride. There's definitely a learning curve, but for many people, the benefits outweigh the downsides, and the number of riders keeps growing. Maybe in a few years, they'll be as common as bikes or scooters on Chinese streets, and if you ever get the chance to try one, don't be surprised if you end up hooked too. BYD Allseeing Drive. Have you ever wished your car could see everything around you? Maybe even more than you can? That's pretty much the idea behind BYD's Allseeing Drive system. It's a smart driving tech that's been making waves recently, especially as BYD pushes into global markets with its electric vehicles. The name alone, Allseeing Drive, sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. But in reality, it's a super advanced driver assistance setup that's all about making driving safer and smoother. What makes Allseeing Drive so cool is how it combines a bunch of sensors, cameras, radars, and LiDAR to give the car a 360-degree view of its surroundings. It's not just about avoiding accidents, though that's a big part of it. It's about creating a seamless driving experience. Think smart lane changes, adaptive cruise control, emergency braking, parking assistance, the works. The system is designed to see obstacles, other cars, pedestrians, and even road signs, and react faster than a human driver could in many situations. What's also interesting is how BYD is using this tech to stand out in the crowded EV market. Tesla might get all the headlines, but BYD is quietly building one of the most complete autonomous driving ecosystems out there. Allseeing Drive isn't just a fancy add-on, it's becoming a core part of their new vehicles. And it's a big reason why people are starting to see BYD as a serious player, not just in China, but globally. At the end of the day, Allseeing Drive represents a step toward a future where cars aren't just transportation, they're smart companions on the road. It's exciting, a little bit futuristic, and actually here now. Whether you're into tech or just want a safer, easier driving experience, BYD's system is something to keep an eye on. If you're into electric cars and techie stuff, the next one might just catch your eye. Xpang P7 Plus. It's basically a sleek, futuristic sedan made by a Chinese EV company called Xpeng Motors, and it's been getting a lot of attention lately. The original P7 was already pretty cool, but the P7 Plus takes things up a notch with more range, more comfort, and some seriously smart features. One of the first things you notice about the P7 Plus is how smooth and stylish it looks. It's got this low, sporty design that makes it stand out, kind of like a mix between a Tesla Model S and something out of a sci-fi movie. Inside, the vibe is super minimal and clean, but high-tech at the same time. The big touchscreen and digital dashboard make it feel more like a spaceship than a regular car. But it's not just about looks. The P7 Plus has the brains to match. Xpeng's known for their focus on autonomous driving, and this car is packed with sensors and smart systems. It can handle things like adaptive cruise control, lane changing, and even parking itself in some cases. The latest version has Xpeng's XNGP, basically their version of full self-driving. And while it's not totally hands-free yet, it's definitely impressive. Another big win is the driving range. The P7 Plus can go well over 700 kilometers on a full charge, depending on the model, which is pretty awesome for long trips. Charging is also quick if you're using a fast charger, so you're not stuck waiting forever. And the ride? Super quiet, smooth, and just generally feels premium, even when you're just cruising around the city. Overall, the Xpeng P7 Plus feels like one of those EVs that's flying under the radar a bit, especially outside of China. But it's got everything you'd want from a modern electric car: style, tech, range, and comfort. If Xpeng keeps pushing out updates and expanding globally, this car could become a real competitor to the big names like Tesla. China's EHang 260S is one of the coolest things happening in the world of transportation right now. Imagine getting into a drone, no pilot needed, and flying above traffic to your destination, basically like something out of a sci-fi movie. That's what the EHang 266S is all about. It's an electric vertical takeoff and landing (eVTOL) aircraft designed for short urban trips. With space for 2 passengers and a fully autonomous flying system, This little aircraft is aiming to completely change how we think about commuting, especially in crowded cities. What makes the EHang 266S stand out is its fully autonomous flight technology. Unlike a regular helicopter or small plane, you don't need a pilot to fly it. You just hop in, pick your destination on a touchscreen, and the system takes care of everything else. It uses a bunch of sensors, GPS, and artificial intelligence to navigate safely through the air. EHang has been working on this tech for years, and they've already done thousands of test flights, not just in China, but in places like Dubai and Austria too. That kind of real-world testing helps build confidence that this thing actually works. Another great thing about the EHang 266S is that it's electric. That means zero emissions during flight, which is a big deal as the world tries to cut down on carbon emissions. It's also quieter than a helicopter, so it's a lot less disruptive to people on the ground. And since it doesn't rely on fossil fuels, it could end up being cheaper to operate in the long run. That's good news for both passengers and city governments trying to improve public transportation. Of course, there are still a few challenges. Air traffic control, regulations, and safety concerns are big ones. Governments need to figure out how to integrate these flying vehicles into busy urban airspaces without causing chaos. Plus, people might need time to get used to the idea of flying in a drone without a pilot. But with China pushing ahead on the tech side and starting to get certifications for commercial use, the EHang 266S is already closer to reality than most people realize. The EHang 266S isn't just a fancy drone, it's a glimpse into the future of urban transportation. It's exciting to think that in a few years, calling an air taxi might be as easy as ordering a ride on your phone. Wang U8 Floating SUV. Have you ever seen an SUV that can actually float on water? Well, meet the Wang U8, China's latest ultra-luxury SUV that seems like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. Made by BYD, one of the biggest EV makers in the world, this beast of a vehicle doesn't just drive on roads. It can drive through water and even float for a short time. Yeah, you read that right. It can literally float. That's one wild feature that instantly sets it apart from anything else on the market. The U8 isn't just about party tricks though. It's a high-end hybrid electric SUV with 4 electric motors, one on each wheel, giving it insane control and stability. It can rotate 360 degrees on the spot, like a tank, thanks to its tank turn feature. If you're the kind of person who likes off-roading, this thing is basically your dream car. It can handle all sorts of terrain, sand, snow, mud, and if you somehow find yourself in a flooded area, the U8 can float and paddle its way out. That's next-level engineering. Inside, it's all about luxury. The cabin is loaded with tech, huge screens, plush seats, ambient lighting, and all the premium touches you'd expect from a high-end SUV. It's like a tech lover's playground with all the futuristic controls and driving modes. And let's not forget the safety features, since it can go places most cars can't. It comes packed with sensors and smart driving systems to make sure you're covered in any situation. What's really interesting is that a car like this is coming out of China, not the US or Europe. It shows how fast Chinese automakers are catching up, and in some ways, even leading the game. The Wang U8 isn't just an SUV, it's a statement. It's bold, wild, and definitely not your average family car. Whether you love it or think it's over the top, one thing's for sure, it's pushing the boundaries of what a car can do: electric bus networks. China has made some serious moves when it comes to electric buses. Over the past decade, the country has completely transformed public transportation in many of its major cities by replacing diesel-powered buses with electric ones. Walk through a city like Shenzhen or Guangzhou, and you'll notice something pretty cool. Almost every bus is electric. It's quiet, there's no exhaust smell, and the air feels noticeably cleaner. Shenzhen, for example, was the first city in the world to fully electrify its entire bus fleet. And that's saying something, considering it has thousands of buses running every day. One big reason China has been able to pull this off is because of strong government support. The government has invested billions into electric vehicles, not just for private use, but especially for public transit. There are subsidies for manufacturers, incentives for cities, and strict emissions goals that encourage switching to electric buses. On top of that, Chinese companies like BYD and EHang are global leaders in electric bus production. They're not just selling to cities in China, but exporting to other countries too. Another thing that makes China's electric bus networks so successful is the infrastructure. Charging stations are everywhere, especially in urban centers. Many buses charge overnight or during shift breaks, and newer technology has made it easier to fast-charge large batteries. There are even systems where buses charge wirelessly at certain stops. Pretty futuristic stuff. Plus, electric buses are cheaper to run in the long term, even though the upfront cost is higher. Of course, it's not all perfect. Some smaller cities have had a harder time making the switch because of the cost and lack of infrastructure. There are also challenges with battery disposal and the environmental impact of producing so many batteries in the first place. Still, when you look at the big picture, China has shown the world that it's possible to electrify a huge bus network in a relatively short amount of time. Moving on to Wuhan, the city is stepping into the future with its recent expansion of robotaxis, and it's honestly pretty exciting. Wuhan's Robotaxi expansion. The city has been testing autonomous vehicles for a while now, but lately things have really picked up speed. With more driverless taxis hitting the roads, it's starting to feel like something out of a sci-fi movie, except it's real and it's happening right now. What makes this expansion so interesting is how smoothly it's being integrated into everyday life. People in Wuhan can now book a ride in a robotaxi through simple apps, just like they would with any other ride-sharing service. The difference? There's no driver. The cars handle everything from navigating busy intersections to dealing with unexpected traffic situations. It's a little weird at first, sitting in a car without anyone behind the wheel, but for most passengers, the novelty wears off quickly and is replaced by convenience. Of course, not everything is perfect. There are still concerns about safety, especially in unpredictable weather or with erratic human drivers around. But the companies behind the robo-taxis, like Baidu and others, are putting in a lot of work to make sure the tech is solid. They've got backup systems, remote monitoring, and plenty of testing to back up their operations. Plus, the city itself has been supporting the initiative by upgrading infrastructure to better support autonomous vehicles. In the bigger picture, Wuhan's move could be a sign of what's to come for cities around the world. If robo-taxis prove successful here, there's a good chance we'll see similar systems rolling out elsewhere. It could mean fewer traffic accidents, lower transportation costs, and even less pollution if more of these vehicles are electric. For now, it's just one city taking a bold step, but it might just be the beginning of a major shift in how we get around. Xpang Aero HT. If you're into electric cars and cool futuristic rides, the Xpang Aero HT from China is definitely something worth checking out. Xpeng, which is one of China's top EV makers, has been making waves with their smart, stylish and tech-heavy vehicles. The Aero HT stands out because it's not just another electric car, it's like a flying car concept in a hatchback form, blending sleek design with some serious innovation. It feels like the kind of car you'd see in a sci-fi movie, but available for the everyday driver. What's super interesting about the Aero HT is its design philosophy. The HT actually stands for hatchback, but the way Xpeng has designed it, the car looks really aerodynamic and futuristic. It's all about cutting down on air resistance to boost range and efficiency. The smooth lines and sharp edges aren't just for looks, they help the car slice through the wind, which is pretty important when you're talking electric cars and their limited battery ranges. Plus, the design has a cool, minimalistic vibe that's definitely catching attention. Tech-wise, Xpeng is known for packing their cars with smart features, and the Aero HT is no exception. It's equipped with a bunch of sensors and cameras that help with everything from parking to highway driving. The car supports some level of autonomous driving, which means it can do some driving tasks on its own, making long trips less stressful. Inside, the cabin is sleek and modern, with big touchscreen displays that let you control just about everything. The whole setup feels more like a tech gadget than a traditional car. Another cool thing about the Xpang Aero HT is its range. While exact numbers might vary, it's expected to have a solid electric range that can compete with some of the best EVs out there. This is a big deal because range anxiety is one of the main things holding people back from switching to electric cars. Xpeng seems to be tackling this head-on by using efficient battery tech and smart energy management. Overall, the Xpang Aero HT is a sign of how fast the electric car market is evolving, especially in China, which is becoming a huge player in the EV scene. It's exciting to see a company like Xpeng pushing boundaries with design, tech, and sustainability all rolled into one. If you're dreaming of a future where cars are sleek, smart, and electric, the Aero HT is a cool glimpse into that world. Whether it's flying cars or just super advanced hatchbacks, the future definitely looks bright and green. Raptor 3W Wheeled. The Raptor 3W Wheeled is one of those gadgets that really grabs your attention if you're into outdoor gear or rugged vehicles. It's basically designed to be tough, versatile, and ready for just about anything. Whether you're navigating rough trails, hauling gear, or just cruising around a big property, the Raptor 3W tries to make everything easier. What's cool is how it balances power and simplicity. It's not trying to be some flashy, overly complicated machine. Instead, it's built to work hard without making you jump through hoops to figure it out. One of the first things you notice about the Raptor 3W is its wheels. Unlike a lot of smaller three-wheel vehicles that might feel wobbly or unstable, these wheels are pretty beefy and give a solid grip, even on uneven ground. That makes it way more reliable if you're out in the dirt, mud, or gravel. Plus, the wheel design means it can handle turns more sharply than a four-wheeler sometimes, which is a nice bonus if you're working in tight spaces or need to make quick maneuvers. It just feels nimble and tough at the same time, which is a rare combo. Another thing that stands out is how user-friendly the Raptor 3W Wheeled is. You don't need to be a mechanic or an expert to get it up and running. The controls are straightforward, and maintenance isn't a headache, which is a big deal for people who just want to get the job done without fuss. It's also designed with a practical mindset. There's enough storage and space to carry what you need, but it doesn't overdo it with bulky features. It's clear that the designers had real-world users in mind, making it a no-nonsense machine that can handle daily wear and tear without breaking a sweat. If you're looking for something solid, efficient, and pretty low maintenance, the Raptor 3U Wheeled definitely deserves a closer look. NIO ET9. The NIO ET9 is one of those electric cars that's been getting a lot of buzz lately, especially in China. It's a sleek, modern electric sedan that tries to compete with big names like Tesla, but at a more affordable price. What makes the ET9 stand out is not just that it's electric, it's packed with cool tech and has a design that feels futuristic, but still pretty classy. People love how smooth and quiet the ride is, which is a big deal when switching from gas cars to electric. One of the coolest things about the NIO ET9 is its battery life. It's built to go long distances on a single charge, sometimes close to 600 kilometers, that's around 370 miles, which means fewer stops for charging and more freedom on the road. Plus, it supports fast charging, so you can juice it up quickly if you're in a hurry. For anyone worried about range anxiety, the ET9 tries to ease those concerns with solid battery tech. Inside, the ET9 feels more like a tech gadget on wheels than a traditional car. It's loaded with touchscreen controls, AI voice assistants, and even some self-driving features. The cabin is spacious and comfy, designed to keep passengers relaxed on longer trips. It's clear the makers want to attract younger buyers who care about both style and smart tech, and who want a car that's eco-friendly without compromising on comfort or looks. On top of that, the ET9 reflects China's growing push toward clean energy and reducing pollution. With stricter rules on emissions and a bigger focus on electric vehicles, cars like the NEO ET9 are helping change the way people think about driving. It's exciting to see local companies building EVs that not only fit the market, but also challenge international brands. What do you think of these innovations? Share us your thoughts in the section below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.